Okay. Hi, I'm Haley. My species I'm defending is Sarcoptes scabiei, commonly known as the itch mite. Yeah.
Hi, and my name is Hannah Solomon. Mine is the Demodex canis, otherwise known as the follicle mite.
Okay. So our debate topic today is going to be which of our insects is harder to control or mitigate. Okay, so I'm going to start my opening statement with my nice timer. Okay. The itch mite is a parasitic arthropod that burrows into the skin and causes scabies. Itch mites can affect more than just humans, including domestic dogs and sometimes cats. Itch mites undergo 4 stages in its life cycle: egg, larva, nymph, and adult. Females will deposit 2 to 3 eggs per day as they burrow under the skin, causing their host to have itchy or irritated skin. Their body is oval-shaped and ventrally flattened. There are 4 pairs of legs, with the 2 most anterior pairs having cushion-like sucker pads that are used to hold onto the host's skin. The adult mites live 3 to 4 weeks in the host's skin. The best conditions in which to attain these mites is in areas with frequent skin-to-skin contact, such as hands and wrists, as these mites are transmitted by skin contact and are very easily spread. Once in a herd, these mites are very difficult to eliminate without great measures taken. There are at least 300 million cases every year worldwide. All ages of men and women, especially in crowded and unhygienic conditions, are at risk to get these itch mites. If a person has never had scabies before, symptoms may also take up to 4 to 6 weeks to even begin. Even if the host has no clue it is infected, it is at risk of having it spread to whomever they become in contact with. On a person, scabie mites can live for as long as 1 to 2 months. With no host, scabie mites usually do not survive more than 48 to 72 hours, and scabie mites will die if exposed to high temperatures. I don't know if my 10 minutes is up because I haven't looked. 17 seconds. Okay, so that's me. Here's Hannah.
Hello. Okay, so there you go. I'm gonna start now. I'm gonna set my timer. Okay, so as I said before, mine is the Demodex canis follicle mite. There are 65 known species of these Demodex mites. They predominantly live on domestic dogs, but on occasion can infest humans. These mites live in hair follicles and in oil glands on the skin. Adult mites can range between 0.3 millimeters and 0.4 millimeters long and have semi-transparent bodies. These mites are transferred directly from the mother to the puppies within the first week of life. Transmission of these mites is by direct contact only, so you can't get them any other way. So that pretty much means that the mother and the puppy have to be physically touching for the puppy to get these mites. Once this insect is suspected in a dog, it can be confirmed by a skin scraping or biopsy, in which case they can be seen under a microscope because they are way too small to be seen under the naked eye. These mites lay eggs deep in the hair follicles and are unable to be simply washed away. You have to wait for the eggs to hatch and then you can treat them. It's possible that they can even have a beneficial effect to the dog by eating bacteria and other microorganisms in the skin follicles. They lay eggs 15 to 20 days after mating, and then the larvae hatch 3 to 4 days after they're laid, and it takes about a week for the larvae to develop into adults. The total lifespan could be about 2 weeks, and mite treatment must last 12 weeks. They usually come out at night because they try to avoid light, and they move really slowly, about 1 centimeter per hour. And I'm going to ask you my first question of the rebuttal, which is, you mentioned that the itch mite can also be found in domestic cats and dogs. Where do you think they're most commonly found?
Good question, Hannah. Okay, wait, let me start my timer. 1 minute. Okay, so infestations of the itch mite are weirdly commonly found in pigs. They significantly depress the growth and feeding rate, but usually die out in around 5 days due to farm conditions because of like the heat and stuff. So as I stated before, mites do not survive long without a host in general. So if you add that plus really bad heat conditions, they'll die fairly fast. Even people who are very clean can get scabies. It tends to spread easily in nursing homes, extended care facilities, schools, and sports teams due to close quarters and lack of cleanliness, for lack of better words. And luckily, in today's world, there's multiple treatments from doctors and in stores for anyone who obtains scabies. So you can just like go to a doctor and they'll know how to solve that problem. So yeah, there goes my timer. So I'm gonna ask Hannah a question now. So you said dogs were affected by your insect. What group or like what people, like other people, are also affected by your insect?
Okay, well, I would love to answer that question. I'm gonna start my nifty timer. All right. Well, yes, this insect specifically does target dogs. However, humans may sometimes be affected, although it can only temporarily affect humans. The Demodex canis mites cannot survive long on the human skin, and therefore will die shortly after exposure and are considered to not be zoonotic. For the majority of people, these mites have no symptoms, which is good, because who likes those? The people who seem to be most affected by this species are older people with weaker immune systems, so they like kind of feed off of that weaker immune system. HIV patients and children with leukemia. Men are more likely to get infested with these mites because they have more oil glands and hair follicles on their skin than women. To cure this for dogs and sometimes humans, most doctors will recommend like tea tree oil and macadamia nuts. And if you're a human, change your sheets. There you go. Oh, right.
You're good.
And then I have a following question. Question number 2 for the rebuttal. You said your insect goes through 4 stages of life in the life cycle. When does this life cycle start, and how do they find their way to the host?
That's a great question to tell you. Okay, let me start that timer. It gets me every time. Okay, the life cycle starts when an adult female gets in contact with your skin. It crawls into crevices such as elbows, feet, fingers, anything really like tight together. It penetrates the skin. This is kind of gross. It penetrates the skin and burrows a tunnel, and it can slice skin with its sharp front legs and mouth parts. The other legs it uses for holding onto the skin with like little suckers that it has on each leg. It has 8 legs in total. It takes about 30 minutes for it to burrow into your skin, and then it'll continue to drill down horizontally across the skin, laying eggs along the way. The female does. The tunnels are usually shaped in a zigzag on the skin surface, and it lays eggs 2 to 3 eggs per day for 2 months, if not treated, because they can stay in your system for 1 to 2 months, and then they eventually die. But yeah, so that's that. So I have another question for Hannah. Rebuttal number 2. When you were mentioning how to get rid of mites, how would you suggest keeping them like away indefinitely? Because like I don't want those ever again if I get those.
Right, obviously. Let me start my timer. All right. So that's a great question. Let me get down to the bottom of this for you. The mite is almost never eradicated entirely from the dog's body. However, the mite population is significantly killed off. Then it no longer becomes an issue, they're dead, right? Okay, so in order to keep these mites away successfully, you have to keep proper hygiene for you as the human or as your dog. Make sure that you're properly shampooing, all that good stuff, exfoliating. And if you keep doing this on an ongoing basis, consistently, it will increase your chances of them not coming back. Vice versa, if you don't, greater chances of it reoccurring and spreading again on your pet. So this condition is still easily treated if it does reoccur, which is good. But as I stated before, you could continue to... Oh, you may never know. Just keep clean, fellas, you know? All right, on to the
conclusions.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, do you want to go first?
Oh,
I
sure.
feel like my conclusion
Sure.
is, following you.
Okay, so I got my timer. Oh, that's a calculator, not a timer. Okay, so starting the timer. Okay, well, this has been fun, Haley. But I'm gonna have to say that my insect is more difficult to control because it is so easily passed on from the mother to pup, and it takes a long time to get rid of and contain. Most times, dogs can't even tell that they're living on them, which can make it really hard to treat them, obviously. But in other cases, it can be really quite annoying to these pups. So, in conclusion, the Demodex canis follicle mite is most commonly found in dogs, and they are used in research by scientists to discover more information about dogs and these insects and how they affect them in their daily lives. They are important to study and research because the more we know about them, the better the lives our dogs can live, because we can find better treatments and other ways to prevent them from spreading dog to dog. And that's my alarm going off. And
Alright. Okay, so 1 minute. Okay, while I agree with you, Hannah, I do see why yours would be hard to control. I also think my insect is hard to control and mitigate because it can take from 4 to 6 weeks to even notice symptoms or to even know that you have scabies, so that's kind of scary. And then even after you treat them, it stays in your body for a good 2 to 4 weeks after that. So they're not easily, exterminated. These mites can live in their host for 1 to 2 months if not treated. In areas of large infestations, extreme measures have to be taken for them to even be exterminated for good. Scabies is a pretty common infestation in humans and other mammals alike. It's very important for humans to know about this insect and the steps that need to be taken to prevent infections from happening. Since there are so many treatments and doctors, there's much more knowledge about scabies and how to treat them, which is really good. And, oh, there it is. And so hopefully it'll get easier as time goes on to treat them. So, yeah, and control it. So
yeah,
that's us.
it's been nice. Great debate. Bye.